he left and he went back to New York, he phoned me and he said, honey, that's it. I've had a couple of days to think about this. I'm leaving my job. And he was a tax attorney, so he's a lawyer. I was like, we're starting a brand.
Helen, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited to talk to you and get into all things Act Acre.
I'm so excited as well. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to get chatting on this holiday weekend.
I know. Okay, so I first found out about your product. I think it was Melissa Wood, Tepperberg, who posted about it. And my sister at the time, she had just had my nephew, and she was like, I am losing my hair. Like, she has beautiful, thick hair, and she had like hair coming out in the shower. And I was like, I just like read about this product. You should try it. And it like totally changed, saved her hair. And so we're like such super fans, but I want to get into
Oh, I
all the
love
things.
that. I love meeting
Complete.
super fans as well.
I'm such a super fan. And it's just so hard to find. I think makeup's a lot easier, skincare's a lot easier to find like natural products that work. Hair care has been really hard for me to find the clean products that I like. So let's start with you first. Let's walk past. I know you have a long history and career in the hair care industry. So can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to starting Act Acre and how this all came to be?
Yes, absolutely. So I suppose that starts almost like 18 years ago when I finished college, and I had decided during college I wanted to become a hairstylist. You know, originally I went to college because I wanted to do marketing and work in business, but then I realized, you know, through that, because I did everyone's hair in college, you know what, I really want to follow this as a career. Like I love it so much. I'm just going to go do it and figure it out. And you know, it was through meeting different people, seeing, you know, the various different opportunities that existed within hair and how creative you could be. So I started in a salon in Dublin, Ireland. So I'm originally from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and moved to Dublin shortly after college and began my career there. Worked my way up through a salon, and from there, I had this one opportunity to come to New York to work at Fashion Week. And now that was seriously my biggest dream. And I was actually 30 years old, so I completely left my everything in Ireland, packed my bags for one opportunity, and went and, you know, slept on a friend's couch and basically just knocked on doors. And I met this guy after Fashion Week one night coming out of the Standard Hotel in Meatpacking. And I heard his accent and I said to myself, oh, where are you from? Or sorry, I said to him, where are you from? And he said, Armagh. And I'm from Armagh. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, of all places, like, because Northern Ireland is super, super small. I think 1.5 million people. But also to come from the same town walking out. And he asked me what I was doing there. And he said, well, actually, I'm a photographer. And we got to talking. And he was the one that introduced me to an agency in New York. And that's where I met my mentor and started working there. And everything kind of like just came from that one moment, which was like just insane. It was beautiful.
Wow, that's an amazing story. It's just complete right place, right time. I love
Complete right place, right time. I know. And it was incredible just to like, it was hearing that accent that made me kind of like start a conversation. I don't just randomly talking to people, but it was insane. And so I met my mentor Sam McKnight, and I started working with him, and that really was like just mind blowing for me. Like that's really when my career started, and I would travel to London, Milan, Paris, and we'd be doing every show, and like from Fendi, Chanel, and I did that for 7, nearly 8 years with Sam, doing all the shows at Fashion Week. And then I signed with an agency. That's usually kind of the progression is, you know, you start with a mentor, you work there for years, and then you slowly build your own clientele. And slowly after that, I was on tour with Alicia Keys, and then I was working with Harry Styles, Mark Ronson, Marissa Tomei. There's a lot, but I started working, you know, with celebrity on a lot of like, you know, press tours, red carpet, and then keeping kind of with my editorial work as well. So advertising clients, and people always ask me, so what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do hair, but I do it for magazines. And
Yeah, and that world is so crazy. I've been on the fashion end and being backstage at those shows, like you do not have a second to even think. You're just like moving so fast. So I can imagine now your world is a little bit different, even though being an entrepreneur is very fast paced as well. Okay, so
yeah, because now I do both jobs.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so you're working in the industry, you're full-blown celeb stylist. At what point did you come to the realization that you wanted to start your own hair care line?
Well, something that I really understood and kind of seen across the board was that scalp health was doesn't take any kind of like it. Sorry, like scalp health really just is across the board, you know. So you'd see it everywhere from like the models to celebrities to regular people. Like it doesn't discriminate against anybody, if that makes sense. And it was actually at Paris Fashion Week in back in 2016. Yes, I'm terrible with years, by the way. Back in 2016, and I was leading a show at Couture Fashion Week, and it was one of my first major jobs myself, where I was the lead, and I had a team of 30 hairstylists. I flew them in, we created the look, and it was the night before the show, and my husband surprised me by showing up because he was like, you know, this is a big moment for you, so I'm going to be there to support you. And I think before that, he thought I just cut hair. And he was backstage, and he could see, you know, interaction with the stylist, the creative director, you know, the designer, and we would, you know, talk through the look and understand, you know, what is the lady that we want to, you know, get across here, and then leading the team. But I was saying to him, you know, by the time the girls get to Paris, their scalps are red raw. Their hair is just dead and lifeless and dull because there's so much product being put into it. And Paris is always the last week, you know. So I said to him, I wish there was something I could just give them to take home to really remove this buildup so that I can work so much easier with their hair. Because you have to put in so much more product to make it perform. And so I think there was a light bulb moment went off there with him, and he was like, "Oh, what? Explain that to me a bit more." So I was explaining, you know, scalp health really is the solution to all our hair issues. And he was like, "Wow." And I think, you know, seeing me backstage, he was like, "Okay, you know, you can run a team of people as well." And he left and he went back to New York. He phoned me and he said, "Honey, that's it. I've had a couple of days to think about this. I'm leaving my job." And he was a tax attorney, so he's a lawyer. I was like, "We're starting a brand."
Wow. Oh my, and
Yeah.
first of all, that probably felt so good. I feel like there's nothing better than your partner seeing you in your element and in your power, because it's rare they get to see that. You're often working, right? So I
I
love that's
know,
amazing.
of course. Yes.
Okay, so you have the light bulb moment, husband's on board, and then right away, do you go just like start building this brand, or was this a transition out of your career?
So I actually remained in my career the full time because we, at that point, we funded it all ourselves. So I had to work to pay the bills and to make this possible, you know. And something that what makes us such an incredible team together, not only husband and wife, but like as business partners, is, you know, I'm the creative, like building kind of like the product development, portfolio, all the content creation, stuff like that. But from his background, he was trained to think and trained to problem solve. So for him, he was just able to go out there and just figure it out. And I was able to remain, okay, coming up with a concept, the ideas, but he actually did everything, which was insane. Like, I was so blessed to have a partner like him that, number one, believed in me, but also could go and do this. So him leaving his job meant that he could go and bring this idea to life while I worked. And then I worked every hour and every weekend and every other day that I wasn't on set on this here. And we did this together. But having him support me, being able to go to work, because he's like, don't you worry about it, I've got it all sorted today. I'm going to figure this out. So, you know, it still hasn't transitioned because I still work on set because I do believe it's complementary. It's where I get to test product. It's where I get to see the product work. It's also it's like my creative outlet as well, which I feel like there has to be that balance. So I'm kind of like it's 50-50 at the moment, but the beautiful thing with COVID was that I immersed myself 100% into it because no one was shooting, no one was on set. And so I got to like really develop my skill set within the brand as well, and really that was beautiful.
You are busy. I'm very inspired by you. That's a
Oh,
lot of
thank
things
you.
that you're doing. So there's so much that goes into building a product. I feel like a lot of people listening have ideas of building products, and it's like actually going out there and you become a chemist all of a sudden, and then you know about regulations,
Hmm.
and there's so many things you have to learn. What was something that you think was really important in getting to the actual final product that you were really proud of?
And it's going back to what Yeah, it was going back to what you said, where you couldn't find any clean hair care, and also scalp care didn't exist, and that for me was number one. What really wanted to create was that kind of connection with the scalp and hair, because this is dead. It's dead protein. We can do many things to help it, appear better and treat it, and keep it looking great. But the most important moment of that hair is in the birth of the hair. And that's at the follicle. So that is at the root. And for me, I was like, no one really understands this. So scalp care, number one. Number two was getting something that was clean, that actually performed well. Because, you have these granola brands where, people have this perception that you can't get hair care that is clean because it doesn't perform. And that kind of was true to a point. And so when we started this process, I was like, okay, but how can we make this that it performs really well? And we applied very similar rules to skincare to hair care. Because, well, scalp care. I don't even call us hair care. I say we're scalp care because we really that is our core. And with the scalp, it's an extension of your face, so it's similar. And you'll notice in a lot of our treatments, they're very active ingredients and ingredients that you will find in skincare as well to repair and soothe and protect and really, treating this microbiome. But what I noticed was across the board, and what I know myself from studying different Ayurvedic methods and with essential oils and how important they are for the microbiome, was that when people were using these ingredients, they also had to heat the product up to a certain temperature to it's like 190 degrees to make oil and water pass into each other. And what we know from cooking, from anything, is that you lose the efficacy. So we worked with physicists, botanists, scientists to create this method, which is called co-process method, and we patented this process. And really what it is we don't use any heat at all. So heat is what's used to blend the ingredients together. But we use a hyperbaric chamber, cold air and pressure, and that blends the ingredients together. So no heat. So we use 90% less energy, but we also retain 97% of the efficacy of the ingredients put into it. So for example, if you smell a peppermint in something, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a synthetic ingredient added at the end or fragrance to make you think that is actually in the product. And it shouldn't, if peppermint's really in it as well, it shouldn't be overpowering. It should be very subtle, and that's real peppermint that's actually been used in it. So that's, for example, that's in our scalp renew. And we don't fragrance any of our treatments at all, which is really good. So the co-process method for us was something that, not only thinking of the packaging as being sustainable, but how else can we, as a brand, look at this from, the manufacturing process, from the beginning. How are we bringing this back to nature, really? And that's also in the name with Act Acre, acre from land and nature, and the ingredients that we use.
Okay, so your site is beautiful. I was actually just placing an order before we jumped on. I'm like, I need more
Oh
scalp products.
no, you're saying thank you.
So your team has obviously grown by now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so can we talk about your team and who your first hires were and how, as a team, you were looking at growing the brand as a whole?
Yes, absolutely. So when we first started, and actually our first hire was this beautiful little girl, Sienna, who's still with us. I started as customer service and, grew now to be like our head designer, which is just amazing to see how people develop and grow. And for us as founders, especially my husband and I, we kind of treat them like our children. We just want to see them grow. And we're like, okay, you're good at this side of the business. Brilliant. Let's just run in that direction. So one thing is you'll never be stifled with your growth at Act Acre, that's for sure. Like at the beginning, and I think this is the same for most small businesses, is that you hire a lot of A player generalists, people who can do everything, wear a lot of hats. But as the business grows and you want to scale, that's when you need to hire specialists. And also, like from a leadership point of view, is like we wear many many hats at the beginning as well, and we're probably micromanaging a little bit more because these are generalists and we're trying to figure this out. And it was our first time we ever ran a business as well. And so then as we grow and have more people, more specialized, we can take a little bit of a step back and really just give them autonomy to work. And it's very important to us for them to feel that way as well. But also, like, we do have incredible ideas and we love to work together as a team. And one thing, especially over COVID as well, is that we have to make more of an effort as well, going into the store. So when any day I'm not on set, I'm in the office with them and we go for lunch, we create some content, and it really is about giving them their time and that individual time as well. Like I honestly think I'm like a parent to them. So it's like, okay, I've given you this time, so I need to make sure I give them all the same time. But beautiful team, we've grown, and I'm very lucky to have my brother work with us as well. He's head of people, so him carving out that time for everyone, and yeah, so it's been an amazing journey. We're 3 years in, and I think we're around 22 people now.
Incredible. And I completely relate to wanting to give everyone on your team that attention. I'm so like that too. I feel like if I don't talk to someone for a few days or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I need to sit with you. How are you feeling? What's going on? I'm very much like that as well. So, when you think of you as your own boss already, but you are, you still are the celebrity hairstylist, and then you go into building your own brand and you become an entrepreneur. How do you feel like your journey as a woman, like who did you have to become to run this business and to elevate your career in this way?
hmm I said very true to myself. A lot of times, especially in fashion, you could be a little mean to get, to be cool and whatever else. But no, I always stay true to myself. Very caring, very kind to anyone that works with me. And coming from hair world, I would have had assistants. And it's also about elevating them, uplifting them, showing. And I always wanted to be that mentor that they, were like, okay, let's share this, share the job, share everything. If I can't make something work, let's say recommend someone else. And then when it came to Act Acre, that was my first time, really dealing with other people's work that wasn't, related to what I had been doing before. So like people coming in doing graphic design, sure, I have no clue about graphic design. And I do think as a founder as well, it's very important to have someone for you to talk to as well. So I do have a business coach, and my husband as well. We speak to the same one, and that's very important being married as well. So that really helped me kind of like understand who I was, who I wanted to become, and how I could implement that. And through this whole journey, it's just about personal growth, working on yourself to ensure that you become the woman you want to be, per se. But yeah, it's really being authentic, and I always say to people, it still is about just working hard. You will get there.
So good. And working with your business coach, what's something that they have instilled in you that you didn't have before that you have found super helpful in your career?
I think self-belief, believing in yourself, because sometimes as a founder and coming in as a, not having the same experience as everyone else on the team, you know, like we created this idea together, we're growing this together. And another thing that I would recommend to people as well is just hire somebody to do it better than you can. Don't stress yourself out trying to do it. Just, and I always felt that I was like, no, this 20-year-old can do this way better than I can. So I was very open to that. I was like, yes, bring them in, please.
Please bring in all of the people. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So, what is something that you are most excited about when thinking of growing Act Acre? I know from the time I started buying your products, you had only 3 products, and now you have an array of
Yes.
products. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. And something that I always would love to do, if I could sit down with every single consumer and give them a scalp consult, I would. But obviously, there's only one of me. And as a trichologist and, working with scalp health and, hair loss conditions, it's like working with my clients over the years as well. It's like understanding like how this affects them, how it affects them personally, their self-esteem. I just want to make sure that people are educated on how they can make their scalp and hair better. If you're suffering with some of these chronic scalp conditions, like let's work on this together. And hopefully providing that platform through Act Acre that we become the scalp experts, that they come to us for all the advice. So like the same way as skincare over the years, there's certain people that have become those experts. We do want to be those experts in the industry so that people feel comfortable. And I just want people to have amazing hair or to feel good. Like it's, for me, it's not how it looks, it's about how you feel about it, and loving your hair. And if you've major scalp conditions, being able to work with you and figure out what that is, and so that it's not affecting your day-to-day life.
Yes. Well, you are my scalp expert, and I'm sure anyone listening is going to be looking you up immediately after this, like learning about the scalp. So, last question is, what would be your number one piece of advice for a woman who is wanting to go all in and start her own business?
Yeah, and this is something that I've said in probably many situations like this where I've been asked this question, and I haven't changed my mind, is just have no regrets. It's never too late. Like, I'm coming 40 now, and I started this 3 years ago. I changed careers at 30. And, I never had the financial family or backing to make this happen. I always had to do it by myself. So just, it's never too late. Don't fear, because I never ever want to have regrets. Doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are, you still have enough time to do this. So if you have an idea and it's showing up constantly, it's not just something that you forget about or get sick of, 6 months in. Is it something that, hopefully you have a serious passion for as well? That, it's something that you can evolve into, or it's a dream of yours, this is what you want to do. And just work hard and believe, and it will come. It really will.
Helen, such a beautiful answer. That's going to resonate, I'm sure, with so many people listening. So
I hope so.
it will. It resonated with me. I'm like, oh no, I need to ask another question. I'm like so deep in. Thank you, Helen, so much. This has been
Oh my God.
amazing. So lovely to meet
You're
you.
so welcome. Thank you so much. It was so beautiful.